Hello everyone, Sadly here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I am very happy to share with you a brand new, simple and fast universal tree farm for the Bedrock Edition of Minecraft. This tree farm handles the 5 major types of trees: oak trees, birch trees, spruce trees, jungle trees, and acacia trees as well. Overall, this thing is incredibly simple and easy to build. Anybody will be able to build this in their Minecraft worlds. You might think there's some complicated redstone or some overpowered shenanigans behind it. However, I assure you, anybody can build this. I've been scared of tree farms for like 12 years. I've never wanted to build or design a tree farm, but even I was able to figure it out. So I got confidence that you can build this with no issues at all. So let's go ahead and demonstrate the farm, shall we? Walking into the center here, all you need to do is AFK on this pressure plate to turn on the farm and activate your dispensers. You can then immediately start planting in your birch trees. As you can see, those get harvested instantly and perfectly. Spruce trees work great as well. As you can see, those get moved right off over to the side to the harvesting area. Jungle trees work absolutely perfectly as well. No issues at all. If you want to start growing yourself some oak trees, all you need to do is flick this lever right here to prevent yourself from getting the super large oak trees, and that'll extend that block there in the ceiling. So now we can grow our oak trees. As you can see, those get harvested too. Okay, let's turn off the oak mode, and we also have an acacia mode as well. This is going to make the entire farm cycle several times. That way you never have any leftover branches in here, preventing other trees from growing. So as you can see, the acacia tree gets harvested, and then the entire farm cycles 3 times to get all of the branches. That one didn't have any branches, but this one does, as you can see. And a perfect demonstration of that triple activation working. So there is your acacia mode, and there's all of your other modes as well. Very simple and straightforward farm to use. So you might have some questions about the sapling return rate, and no matter what sapling you're using, you're always going to get more saplings back than you put in. You're never going to run out of them. Even though we're not breaking 100% of the leaves, as you can see, we still get plenty of saplings in return. So when you're using this farm, normally you just stand here looking at the dirt block, holding down your place button, and that'll plant your saplings, and then everything will get broken. All the extra saplings will get dispensed to you. So right now I have a command block going to plant in the saplings, basically acting as a player. That way we can see what the farm looks like from the outside while it's activating. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. All the different various walls activate at the various different timings. The trees get dragged from the center off to the side, then to the corner, and then finally out to the edge and the output of the farm. So pretty nice, sly little system, and I really like how this farm has turned out. I know tree farms can seem a little bit complicated at first, especially if you don't really know how they work, so I'm going to run you through the basics of how our tree farm works and show you the entire layout of our pistons and all that good stuff as well. That way, hopefully you can understand why and how we do things the way that we do. So first of all, for a very basic 4-type tree farm that doesn't work for acacia, all you need to do is plant your saplings in the middle of a 5x5 area. They will grow up into a tree, and then basically for our layout, we're going to be grabbing them to the side with a double piston extender, pulling them to the corner with another double piston extender, grabbing them outside of that 5x5 area, and then pushing them off again. And this little line right here is essentially the output of your tree farm. That'll go to a TNT blast chamber, a wither cage, a gas blaster, a cube maker, whatever you want to do, that is the output of your tree farm. So that is the very basics of what you need pistons wise for a 4-type tree farm that works for oak, birch, spruce, and jungle. However, you won't be breaking that many leaves, so the sapling return is not going to be good enough for this farm to be self-sufficient for long AFK sessions. So we upgrade our piston layout a little bit to this layout right here. The bonus of this layout is that it can also handle the acacia trees as well, because any of the acacia branches that grow in these areas will automatically be pushed to the center and then sent to the output of our farm. So we don't really need to worry about those. Another nice thing about this piston layout is it does break the vast majority of leaves that grow with your trees. So whenever you bone meal your sapling into a proper tree, this entire 5x5 area, for the most part, gets filled with leaves. Now, these additional walls of pistons will not only push over the acacia branches, but break all of those leaves as well, giving you plenty of saplings back. And then you can go ahead and pull over the trees to the sides, pull the trees over to the corners, pull them out of the area and push them to your output. The only two areas that never have leaves broken is this area right here and this area right here. However, these leaves will eventually decay on their own, dropping you some saplings. So if we take a flyby around the farm again, you can see that mostly it's just wiring to get all of these walls of pistons to fire. Like, all of this is literally just redstone lines, so not very daunting or complicated there. The only mildly complicated part of this farm is the timings down below. However, if we strip those out of the farm, this is the entire timing circuit right here. That's basically all of the timings for the entire farm to get all of the piston walls to fire when they should. The only real monstrosity part of the farm is this redstone spaghetti right here for the acacia switch, and this makes the farm cycle 3 times every activation with 16 ticks of redstone delay in between activations. So not really the greatest, but I mean, what can you do? Acacia trees, they're orange, and they're bad. A massive, massive thank you to Groova Guy for making me realize that tree farms are actually pretty simple and rather easy to build. He designed and built one recently on the Truly Bedrock server. I saw that thing and was like, oh, that's really tiny? Why have I never built a tree farm? I've been scared of these things for ages. I've built some very, very complicated tree farms from tutorials before, and that kind of scared me to my soul. So I never wanted to build a tree farm, but it turns out they're really simple. So thank you very much, Groova Guy. Definitely check out his channel if you want other redstone contraptions. And another massive thank you to Alabar for requesting today's tutorial. He technically requested it like a long time ago, but again, I was very, very scared of tree farms until Groova Guy came along. So you guys have Alabar and Groova Guy to thank for today's tutorial. Show some love for Alabar down below, because otherwise this tutorial would not exist for your faces. He's a great guy, and he's also helping support the channel over on Patreon as well, which, as you know, really does help out the channel a ton, especially in these trying times. So thank you very much, Alabar. You're a great person. I love you. I would like to make note of one minor flaw this tree farm has, but honestly, most tree farms have this same issue. It's kind of difficult to work around this. So when you're farming mostly acacia trees, you'll end up with a bunch of leaves outside of the main area. Eventually, these things will decay, and you'll have saplings or sticks or whatnot outside of the farm. And in general, whenever you're harvesting a bunch of leaves, like from a spruce tree or an oak tree, some of the saplings can glitch through the pistons due to item physics and end up on the outside of the farm. So if you see random saplings laying around the place, or some sticks or some apples, that is perfectly normal. It's not that much a loss, but it's a natural part of farming trees. And before we hop into the tutorial, just a quick warning so that you don't accidentally break the farm as you are using it. Whenever the farm is activating and harvesting a tree, all these pistons are moving and activating. Never flick either of these levers. Flicking these levers as the farm is moving could cause some of these pistons to get stuck out, and then you would have to slightly rebuild some of the piston walls. Not that big of a deal, but still, you don't want to waste your time doing that. Also, whenever you turn off the acacia mode, that is going to activate the farm once as well. So let's hop into the tutorial, shall we? For those of you who are interested, there's going to be a full materials list for this build down in the description of the video for your convenience. Also, you will want to chunk align this build. If you don't know how to chunk align, there's a tutorial in the upper right for your convenience as well. The build area for your tree farm is going to be 12 blocks wide by 12 blocks long, and it's going to be 17 blocks above the ground as well. this is going to be your actual AFK spot where you look at the dirt block and plant in your saplings. So keep in mind that this level right here is going to be your actual ground layer. So let's get your AFK spot installed. From the bottom left corner of your build area, you want to go over to the right by 6 blocks. As you can see, 6 blocks, and then in by 5, and then up by 4 blocks, and this is where your AFK spot's gonna go. You need a solid block, stone pressure plate, and a redstone torch. Up and to the right diagonally is where your dirt block's gonna go, and that's where we're planting our saplings. If you're trying to line this farm up with existing infrastructure, the output of logs is gonna be 2 blocks to the left of the AFK spot, and then basically 4 blocks forward. It's also going to be here at head height as well, and that is a 7 tall output of logs, just in case you're trying to fit this in with existing infrastructure. All right, let's go ahead and get the brain of this system installed. So you want a glass block right there, and then you want quite a few solid blocks in each of these locations, just like so. Once you got those in place, you want a comparator facing into that block, redstone dust, repeater on 1 tick, another piece of redstone dust right there, and then 2 redstone torches right there, solid block, and another solid block right there. 3 pieces of redstone dust on top of each of those. Swing around to this side, and you want 2 solid blocks in these locations with a redstone dust and a repeater going into that redstone dust. That repeater is going to turn off the burnout clock whenever you're not standing on the pressure plate, as you can see there. You now want 3 observers facing down on each 3 of those pieces of redstone dust. Get yourself a solid block above that observer, a dropper facing this direction right there, and then 2 dispensers, 1 right there and another one like so. If we stand on this pressure plate, all 3 of these should be clicking. Now it's time for the sapling return system. So you want 3 pieces of glass in those locations right there, and then 2 hoppers, both of those facing downwards into that dropper, and another ring of hoppers going all the way around this entire farm, just like so. Make sure all of these are pointing into one another. That way all of your saplings, sticks, and apples get back to this central dropper. And now it's time for the piston layouts. So go to the left side of the farm and go out by 2 blocks. You want 3 sticky pistons along like so, glass block in front of that one, observer and a sticky piston right there, observer facing that direction, and then a normal piston to the side, and a sticky piston facing forward like so, and that is everything for the left wall. Now for the back side, branch out by 2 blocks, and then place in 2 sticky pistons right there, a 3rd sticky piston, and an observer. Go up a block and you want 4 sticky pistons in these locations, 2 observers in these locations right here, sticky piston, and a normal piston like so. Now for the other 2 walls, you want to branch out by 2 blocks and up a block at this layer, put in 4 sticky pistons right there, 2 observers on either end facing outwards, and then 2 normal pistons in the center. You want to do that on this side as well, so 4 sticky pistons in this area, 2 observers on either end, and 2 pistons in the middle like so. And this is your entire piston layout for the whole farm. And now we need to put in some extra glass on our exposed observer faces. That way no extra leaves grow or decay at the wrong time in those areas, activating your observers and causing world havoc. So basically just 5 extra pieces of glass in those areas. We now need to expand all of these towers of pistons and observers upwards by 7 blocks tall. So we're going to start with this one. So that's already 1 block tall. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 blocks tall. And it's the exact same layout going all the way up. Nothing changes. You just need to build all of these walls up to this height right here. Make sure they're all exactly the same height. So this one needs to be raised up as well. Make sure it's the same height, and you get it. Just go ahead and do that expansion for all 4. And this is what your farm should look like once all of your towers are expanded upwards. Looking pretty fine and great progress so far. We now want to go on the outside of the farm and place in some extra glass just to seal up that chamber. So 3 pieces of glass right there, some glass on this side, and then some extra glass blocks in these locations too. just to seal up that entire area and make sure no extra saplings fall out of these areas. And now it's time for the timing circuitry of the entire farm. So go underneath of this piece of redstone dust right there, place in a sticky piston with an observer facing it, skip a block and have a solid block, and then we want solid blocks in these 3 locations right here. Redstone dust, repeater on 4 ticks, and a repeater on 2 ticks right there. Glass block, and then some solid blocks in each of these locations, just like so. Have yourself a redstone dust right there, and then a repeater on 4 ticks right there. Swing around to this side, and you want redstone dust right there, solid block down there, and a glass block. Expanding this to the left is pretty easy. Put down a full row of solid blocks, and then repeater on 2 ticks, solid block, 2 ticks, solid block, redstone dust, and then have blocks in all of these 4 locations right here. 2 ticks, 4 ticks, 4 ticks, redstone dust, and then you want a little corner of blocks and this location right here, redstone dust on top of all of that, and an additional redstone dust right there. 2 solid blocks right here, 3 tick repeater, 1 tick repeater, solid block there of redstone dust, and another solid block right there. And now it's time to start wiring up all of the pistons. The first one is the easiest one, and that is this row with the observers right here. So place an observer facing downwards on that redstone dust, solid block next to it, piston facing upwards, glass, 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 redstone block, solid block, repeater on 1 tick, solid block there, and then a piece of redstone dust, and another piston facing downwards. That is basically the easiest way to power this entire line of normal pistons right here for the output of your farm. Whenever this line gets powered, all of those are going to get basically powered. Super simple redstone-less way of doing that. This next line of pistons is not as elegant, but it still works. So solid block, and then we're going to start making a glass staircase going up for the rest of this. This is definitely not the cleanest looking part of the build, but it does function, so there's only so much you can say about it, right? And basically just keep on staircasing this up all the way to the top of the build. Once you reach the top, we can't have redstone dust right there, so we're going to send it to the side to power that piston. And now it's time to power up the main side of pistons that actually grab your logs from the center. So we need 3 lines of blocks starting down here at the bottom, and then every other line going up like so. And now we can go down to the bottom, redstone dust, and then a glass block right there. And then you know the deal, just basically staircase this going all the way up to the very top, just like so. And then once you reach the top, you want redstone dust directly on top of those pistons right there. Make sure there's also redstone dust on all of these solid blocks there. And now for the back wall of pistons, it's really similar to the left side wall. We're going to have a solid block right there, and then 2 pieces of glass staircasing up like so. Redstone dust on top of all of that, and then you know the deal. We just basically staircase up all the way to the very top. Once you reach the top, you also want redstone dust directly on top of all of those pistons. Go down to the very lowest bit of pistons and install lines of solid blocks, every other block going up to the top, just like so. Of course, all 3 of these lines need redstone dust on them too. So now we can actually test out the system to see if these 2 walls are working and see if blocks actually get retracted and outputted from the farm. So if we place a solid block right there, nothing is going to happen, and that is because the comparator is going to read through that solid block for the contents of this dispenser. So if you're out of bone meal, or if you just don't have anything in here, nothing's gonna happen. So throw a random item in there, put down a solid block, and we should see everything activate just like so. And the block that you place down should now be over here. So looks like everything is working just fine. We can of course test that again. And yep, everything's great. And now we need to wire up the other 2 walls. So go back down to this area of the redstone, place down a redstone dust right there, and continue along a redstone line until you hit this wall of pistons or lined up with it. So you need a solid block right there lined up with those pistons, and then a repeater right here on 3 ticks, redstone torch, solid block, redstone torch, solid block, redstone dust, 2 pieces of glass, redstone dust, and then a repeater on 3 ticks. This wall is incredibly easy. Go ahead and put in some lines of solid blocks every other block until you reach the top like so. Solid block in front of that repeater, and then just alternating lines of glass. Go ahead and put redstone dust on top of absolutely everything, and then that is this entire side of pistons completely powered. The other wall is equally as easy, so of course we need our lines of solid blocks, and then we need a glass block up right there, glass block up right there, and then just the alternating rows until you reach the top. Plaster redstone on top of every single block that you can see, basically. And now we can test it again. This is where you may see varying results. So let's go ahead and place a solid block there in the middle, and you'll notice that this line of pistons now gets moved to the side. The reason for this is because when this wall is extended, those observers are going to be detecting these observers, which can mess up your timings. Now, if you have a chunk border in just the right place, this will not happen if you have this repeater on 3 ticks. But because we've built this entire farm within 1 chunk, this now needs to be on 4 ticks. So if we go ahead and put a solid block in here again, you'll see that now everything has fixed itself and there's no issues with that wall. So make sure you test it. If it doesn't break on 3 ticks, keep it on 3 ticks. If it breaks on 3 ticks, make it 4 ticks. And now we need to put a roof of glass on this thing. So basically make a 2 tall wall going all the way around the build on top of all of the observers. And then we need to have the roof blocks be at this layer right here. And this is more or less what your roof should look like. As you can see, it's basically just a roof. And now we need to install the oak switch for when you want to grow oak trees without having the massive ones grow. So put a redstone lamp right here diagonal of that piece of redstone dust. That's at the same layer as your AFK spot. Skip 2 blocks and then have another redstone lamp. This is going to be where the actual oak switch is. Redstone torch, solid block, redstone torch, solid block, redstone torch, solid block, redstone torch, and another solid block. So 4 redstone torches in total. Now we need a glass block right here and 3 pieces of redstone dust going up. Remove these 3 pieces of glass, notably ending right above the center of the farm. Place in a sticky piston right there with a redstone block in front of it. Normal block right there, and then have an observer facing upwards like so. Redstone dust, repeater on 4 ticks, another observer facing that one, and another solid block. Now we need 2 sticky pistons facing downwards, 1 in front of that block, 1 in front of the observer, and finally a solid block on the face of that lowest sticky piston. Fill in these 3 solid blocks, and now we can test this thing with a lever. You'll see that it will double extend and double retract as well. And now it's time to install the acacia switch for the farm. That way you can farm acacia wood as well. So place in levers on both of those lamps. That way you can have a nice little lighting party. Put a redstone torch on the backside of that one, and then you want a couple of blocks right here with redstone dust on them. A sticky piston facing this direction with a redstone block right there. Now we need another sticky piston right on top of that redstone block, and we need an observer facing towards that lamp directly into this block. This is going to be the secondary activation, so the entire farm cycles again and again to get all the branches. And now for the ugliest part of the farm, we need to cycle that piston twice every time an acacia tree is detected. So put a glass block right there, and then a couple of blocks up in these locations right here. So 4 tick repeater facing that direction, 4 tick repeater, redstone dust, 4 tick repeater going into a block, and then a couple more blocks right there, and another 4 tick repeater. That right there is 16 ticks worth of redstone repeaters, and that'll cycle the farm twice anytime an acacia tree is detected. However, we need it to cycle 3 times because of those annoying branches. So we need to make this even uglier. We need another repeater right here on 4 ticks, redstone dust, repeater on 4 ticks, another piece of redstone right there, 2 more repeaters on 4 ticks in this direction, and then a couple more blocks right here, and finally the last repeater on 4 ticks. So that is 3 activations in 1, and that is what I call spaghetti redstone. More specifically, mac and cheese with ketchup. And now for some finishing touches to the farm. You'll likely want to install a floor in this area because floors are a nice thing to stand on. And you'll also want some blocks in this area with item frames, acacia sapling in the bottom and oak sapling in the top, or some other form of indication to remind you that this is oak and this is acacia. And now we can officially test out the farm for the first try. So fill up both of the dispensers completely with bone meal. And now we can step on the pressure plate. That should activate all of those guys. If we flick the oak lever, the thing in the ceiling should extend down by 2 blocks, and it does. We can now grow ourselves an oak tree, and there we go. The thing is fully harvested and put into the output of the farm. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and turn off the oak lever. That should go back into the ceiling. Now we can turn on the acacia switch, and this will make the farm cycle 3 times as soon as an acacia tree is grown. There goes 2 cycles. There goes the 3rd cycle. Absolutely fantastic. I love it. Let's turn off the acacia setting, and now we can just grow ourselves a standard birch tree, jungle tree, or spruce tree. And there you go. This farm is fully functional, 100% legit, and I hope you guys enjoyed this build in your worlds. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's tree farm, then of course let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always trying to help you guys out as best as I possibly can, and otherwise I hope that you did enjoy this video. Make sure to share some love for Alabar and Groova Guy in the comment section down below. This video would not exist without those 2 beautiful people, so share some love for them. Also, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. It helps out the video and the channel massively. If you are new here, then definitely make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future tutorials like this on the channel. And otherwise, I'll see you down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you again so much for watching. And then there was silence.